Hi, today we're going to be learning how to translate between math language and our language, English. You know that languages need to be translated, like you may translate something from Spanish to English, or you may translate something from English to German. Another language that's really useful for communicating ideas is the mathematical language. You already know a lot of the symbols that we use in math. You know that this shape here is addition. You know that this shape is subtraction. You know that an X shape is multiplication. We're going to learn a couple more ways to express multiplication. Did you know that multiplication can be expressed as a dot? It can be expressed as a letter sitting next to a number, and it can be expressed with parentheses. We're also going to learn a new symbol for division. This is the one that we commonly know, the line with the dot above and below. Another way to make a division mark is a slash this way, or by having some numbers on top of a line over another number. And we're going to learn some common phrases, how you can translate between English and math. To start out, we are going to look at some phrases and see if we can't translate them into mathematical language. Let's take a look at this one, 4 times a number. Well, the number 4 will stay the same. Times, instead of being the word times, we'll want to put the math word for times, which from now on, let's try to use a dot. On a computer, the dot will look like a star, a little star like that. And when we see something like a number, but it doesn't tell us which number it is, we have to choose some sort of symbol to represent the number. We can't just pick any random number because it could be a lot of different numbers. So what we've done in math is invented something called the variable. And a variable is just a letter that represents any number you want to put in. I think the most common one that is used and we'll be using today is just the letter N, because number starts with the letter N. So we'll write an N. So this would say 4 times a number. So that's translating English into mathematical terms. This one was a times, was this symbol. I would like you to take a moment and look through this paper and highlight in blue all of the phrases that mean times. Okay, go ahead and pause your video and do that. Okay, we're back. Everything is in blue. Now we're going to look for this next phrase, the sum of 10 and a number. You might remember that sum is the answer to an addition problem. So when we say the sum of 10 and a number, well, that means 10, and again, the number we don't know, we're going to put the N, but then we're going to add those together. So this will say 10 plus N in mathematical language. I'd like you to go through and see if you can't highlight in green all of the things that stand for addition. Go ahead and pause the video and do that. Okay, we are back and we're going to look at the next phrase, the quotient of n and 3. You might remember that the word quotient means the answer to a division problem. So when we do this one, we're going to have n, which they already gave us the letter, that's kind of nice, n divided by 3. See if you can't highlight in yellow all of the phrases that have to do with division. Please pause your video now and do that. Okay, we are back. We're going to look at another type of problem, n minus 14. Minus is a term that has to do with subtraction, so we would write the letter n minus 14, and that is in math language. Okay, we're going to see if you can't highlight in pink all of the terms that have to do with subtraction. Please turn your video off and do that now. All right, we are back. These are all of them highlighted. Let's see how you did. 4 times a number, that's multiplication. The sum of 10 and a number, that's addition. 2 more than a number, that's addition. The quotient of n and 3, that's division. The product of n and 10, that is multiplication. N minus 14, that's subtraction. 10 multiplied by a number, that is multiplication. Half of a number, that one's actually really tricky. Half is a very specific term that has to do with division because it's always divided by 2. So whenever you see the word half, that's going to mean something divided by 2. So this is going to be half of a number, that means n divided by 2. Okay, 2 times a number plus 5, that's multiplication. 3 plus a number, that's addition. A number divided by 6, that's division. The difference of n and 7, that's subtraction. 12 added to a number, that's addition. 3 less than a number. This one is super tricky. And why don't you just go ahead and circle the word than. If you ever see a than, that means that you're about to see a tricky problem because this is going to change the order. It changes order, it makes it backwards. So instead of 3 minus n, this is actually going to be n minus 3. So that than is going to make that go backwards. So you'll need to remember that, very important. All right, let's look at this next one. Twice a number. So that means 2 times. Twice is kind of like half, where half is always divided by 2. Twice is always multiplied by 2. A number times 9, that's multiplication. A third of a number, oh, that's another tricky one like half. A third means we're going to be dividing by 3, always dividing by 3. All right, let's look at this one here. This is kind of tricky because we're putting 2 things together. So we have 7 less than 3 times a number. Remember, the less than, that means it's tricky. So we're going to have 3 times a number. And you know, a really great thing about letters, variables, using letters for variables, is that if we put a number right next to a letter, that means times. So we don't have to use a symbol in between them when we are using a letter and a variable multiplying together. So for this one, we're going to do 3 next to the n. So that's 3 times a number. And then we're going to move backwards because this less than, 7 less than, so this is going to be minus 7. So this will be 3n minus 7. Okay. Here are some really tricky problems. I'd like you to pause the video and try to do these ones on your own. And then when we come back, we'll go over them. Okay, we're back. And this one, let's see how you did. The sum of twice a number and 31. Okay, twice, remember, that means multiplied by 2. And sum, remember, that means the plus symbol. So we're going to have 2 times n, so 2n plus 31. Did you get it? I bet you did. All right, let's see this other one. The product of 1/2 of a number and 1/3 of the same number. Ooh, okay. So the product of 1/2, so that's whatever it is. This is a number divided by 2, okay? So we'll have n divided by 2. And remember, product is a word that means multiply. So we'll have n divided by 2, and then we'll do the times. We're going to do the dot in this case because we don't just have two things. We have a bunch of things we're multiplying together. So n divided by 2 times 1/3 of the same number. So that same letter, n, divided by 3. Now the thing is, if these were different numbers, we would need to use different letters, different variables. But in this case, it tells you they're the same. So if I choose n for the first one, I have to also choose n for the second one. If I chose x for the first one, I would need to also choose x for the second one. So if it tells you it's the same, you need to use the same letter both times. If it tells you that they are different letters, you need to choose different variables to represent them. So if it tells you like the product of 1/2 of a number and 1/3 of a different number, you would need to do n divided by 2 times a different letter like x divided by 3. So be careful about choosing the same letter if they're supposed to be different numbers. That's something to watch out for. Okay, well, I'm going to let you get to your homework, and I will see you in class. Make sure you write down all of your questions that you need, and we'll discuss them together. Love you.